So the Associated Press is apparently feeling the burn. They're feeling the burn over there at the AP after putting a piece out calling the independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders the, quote, indisputable frontrunner in the race for the 2020 Democratic nomination for president. Now, this comes, even though if you look at the numbers, he has not bested the former Vice President Joe Biden. Of course, isn't officially in the race, but still, if you look at the national polling, 6 months of polling, Biden has the lead. The Real Clear Politics polling average and has Biden at 28.8, Sanders at 21.8. So it's a comfortable lead ahead of Harris, O'Rourke, Warren, Booker, and all the rest of them. And, you know, it's interesting to put that type of a label on a candidate, even with those numbers. So let's talk about it. Fox News political analyst Gianno Caldwell joins us. Democratic strategist, former senior advisor to the Hillary Clinton campaign, Antjuan Seawright, is with us as well. Antjuan, you first on this label, the indisputable frontrunner among the Democrats. Is that something you'd use to describe Bernie Sanders?
Oh, I don't know who's over at the AP nowadays, but I can just tell you we have 99 problems in the Democratic Party, but Bernie Sanders being the front runner ain't one. The reality of it is Bernie Sanders, while he enjoys some support, and you can't deny that, he is not the clear front runner. In fact, anyone who would tell you that we have a clear front runner is probably lying to you. Now, the polls do indicate that Vice President Biden enjoys a large portion of the support if the election were handled today. Yeah. However, this will be my fourth Democratic primary that I will be participating in as a consultant. I can just tell you things change and the mood of the party changes, and so the front runner today cannot be the front runner a year from now.
I'd love to go into those other 99 problems, get them one by one with you, Antjuan, but, you know, with time constraints being as they are, Gianno, we were looking at the tail of the tape between the two old guys in the race, essentially, who are out polling everybody else, Bernie and Biden. You know, Bernie Sanders, Gianno, raised a lot of money. We talked about that last week, yes. 18 million brought in the first quarter, but is he the indisputable front runner among Democrats? How do you see it?
Well, I mean, if we look at what is being communicated through the politics of today, when we look at the policies in which the Democrats have been offering up, I would say that he is the indisputable front runner. I'm reminded of a Republican slogan from 1950, which was liberty versus socialism. And I find that we're back here this day. And I'm so honored that I can have this conversation with Antjuan, because the last time we were on to air together, we had this same topic, and he said the socialism was not the big topic in the Democratic Party. And what we're finding out is that's absolutely not true.
That's how the president wants to count
it. It's not.
He wants it to be that,
Gianno.
Socialism versus capitalism. What do you mean it's not, Antjuan?
And that's what it is. That's what it has become. When you think about the fact that this is the only thing that we're talking about, when you think about the fact that the Democrats are using these talking points on reparations and voting from jail, which is something Bernie Sanders has offered up as well for felons, you got to know that this is where the conversation is leading, and he is the front runner of the Democratic Party at this time.
Real quick, Antjuan,
Gianno, with all due respect, just because you say it and just because some on the right side of the political aisle say it doesn't make it true. We have robust conversations, and
because
yes,
we're
having robust conversations in our party, and that's what the primary is about. Very similar to what your party went through in 2016. That does not translate to the party being the party of socialism. In fact, Pelosi at the State of the Union stood up when Donald Trump said that America will never be the party of socialism. Pelosi stood up and clapped. You've had candidates denounce socialism.
Right. They've all had to deal with it. It's interesting.
Discussions.
I'm going to interrupt for 1 second because you guys want to stay with us for this. We'll come right back to you in a moment. But it brings up, because you know exactly what these guys are talking about. The 2020 Democratic candidates are going around the country campaigning, right, one by one. And there is this theme that's emerging, and whether it's they support socialism or not, I'm not sure. But there's definitely a theme of taking aim at capitalism, going after capitalism as it stands now in the country. So with that in mind, let's get to Hillary Vaughn, who's live today on Capitol Hill with the latest on all this. Hillary.
Hey, Connell. Well, capitalism is the new dirty word for Democrats running for president. Over the weekend, 2020 contenders blamed capitalism for leading the country down a slippery slope towards an oligarchy. Two-time presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is a self-declared socialist Democrat, so it's no surprise that he is taking aim at capitalism as he did during his campaign in 2016. But now other candidates in the race or thinking about getting into the race are also chiming in, too. Presidential candidate or possible presidential candidate Mayor Pete Buttigieg says corporate America, he thinks, wields too much power and if left unchecked could be a big problem.
If you want to see what happens when you have capitalism without democracy, you can see it very clearly in Russia. It turns into crony capitalism, and that turns into oligarchy.
We are moving in the direction of oligarchy, and together we are going to turn that around.
Now, former Starbucks CEO and billionaire Howard Schultz is also thinking about getting in the race, but he told Fox Business's Liz Klayman just an hour ago that he does see a small crisis happening with capitalism, but his criticism is that the candidates in the race right now don't have the experience they need to actually solve the problem.
All these politicians who are crying about capitalism, have they ever made a payroll? Have they ever worked in a business? What have they done other than criticize the system?
Schultz isn't the only billionaire also criticizing capitalism. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio telling 60 Minutes that there is a big problem with capitalism as he sees it now. He says it's not sustainable and it needs to be remodeled to work for everyone. Connell?
Hillary, thanks. Hillary Vaughn on Capitol Hill. And let's bring back Gianno and Antjuan now to react to that. It's just a slightly different conversation, Gianno, that we were just having. It's not saying, hey, we're for socialism, but it's to say, if you're Ray Dalio, the hedge fund manager, a little bit with Howard Schultz last hour, the current state of American capitalism, it's just not working right. And I wonder if the president might be careful what he wishes for if he wants this battle, socialism versus that type of capitalism. What do you think of the way that Hillary put that together?
Well, I'm not familiar with any data that supports the conclusion that there's something wrong with capitalism. The truth of the matter is capitalism has been a system that's been in place for quite a long time, and it's done well. It's created companies, and it's created a large middle class. So when we think about what capitalism means versus government control of socialism,
rich getting too rich, the inequality, the gaps in inequality, I think is what people are pointing to.
So rich getting rich, meaning if I put Antjuan and I are both business owners. Right. If we put our lives on the line, possibly lose out and risk everything to win, why should we be penalized for that? I don't see anything wrong with that.
Antjuan?
Well, I'll just tell you this. The way I see it is that we have to make constant improvements. No one can argue that there's a system of the have versus the have-nots in this country. And I think what you've heard from a lot of the Democratic candidates, from a policy standpoint, even from a talking point standpoint, is that we have to do something to uplift and improve and expand what the middle class looks like and make sure people in this country are not working two jobs to live in poverty.
Well, it's that balance, especially politically, of doing that, saying, yeah, I'm a capitalist, but as opposed to I'm for socialism, which probably doesn't sell. But anyway, we'll continue this at a later date.
And it's a big divide at this point.
No, you're right. Maybe tomorrow, I was going to say. We have this discussion, seems like every week. Yeah, I know, Antjuan. Good to see you guys as always. Cheryl.